Okay, here's my directions. Find the slope and y-intercept of the graph of each equation. Now, so I have to find the slope and the y-intercept. So in algebra, the slope's the rise over run of the line. It's identified with an m variable. The y-intercept, on the other hand, that's defined by a b variable. You'd think it'd be y, but it's not. It's b. Okay. Y-intercept is where it would cross the y-axis. Now, we don't have a graph in front of us, but what we need to do on the point of this assignment is to get the y by itself. So, because you know it has to be y equals. Well, I don't have just a y on one side of the equation, so I need to get the y on one side of the equation. So I find my y. This is my y term. It's 2y, so it's going to be 2 times y, and then I circle that. Okay? Now, you want the y to be multiplied by a positive. It is, so I'm going to check. Now, there are 2 types of outside terms. There are x terms and there are constant terms. Okay? This here is not multiplied by x. That is a constant term. This 3 is multiplied by x, so that's an x term. Now, you need the constant terms and the x terms on the same side, but they can't be put together. Okay, so I get rid of this negative 6, so I'm going to add 6. Then I come to the other side. Now that's an x term. I need a constant term to add 6 to. So what I do is I make a constant term of 0, and I plus 6 to that. So I line up my equals, and we have 2 times y. Now I write my x term first, 3x. And then 0 plus 6 is 6. That's fine, but now you have to get rid of the times 2 on the y. So you're going to divide by 2. So divide by 2, but you have to divide both of these things by 2, the 3x and the 2. So not just the 6. So you're going to write x down, and in front of the x, you're going to divide the 3 by the 2, but you do not want a decimal in front of the x. And if you get one, you second PRB it. You also do not want a mixed number in front of the x. See, 1 and 1/2 is a mixed number. It's a whole number and a fraction. So I want an improper fraction, essentially. So then I go second ABC then. Second PRB, and if it's a mixed number, second ABC, and then we're at 3 over 2. Okay? 3 over 2. So really that didn't change. Now I don't care if I get a decimal here. It's not. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay. Now, I have my m and my b. So my slope is 3 over 2, and my y-intercept is 3. Okay, next problem. 3y plus 6 equals negative 2x. So I have to find the slope and the y-intercept. So m is the slope, b is the y-intercept, but I need this in the proper formation. Okay, I have to have y all by itself. So that's my y term. There's only one of them. It's multiplied by 3. It's positive 3, so you put check. Okay, if it's negative, I'll show you what to do when we get down here. Okay, so I have constant term of 6 and an x term of negative 2. So I need to get rid of the constant with minus 6. Now, since that's an x term, I can't put minus 6 under that. I need to put my own constant of 0 and subtract 6 from 0. So we got to keep those separate. So we got 3 times y. We got negative 2x. And then 0 minus 6 is negative 6. You can put plus negative 6 or minus 6. Now I get rid of the times 3 with a division of 3. Both the terms, both the x term and the constant term, have to be divided by 3. So if you have 2 separate terms on that other side, each one has to be divided by 3. Now, negative 2 divided by 3, I put the x down. Negative 2 divided by 3 is a decimal, so you second PRB that, and it's now a fraction, not a mixed number, so it's negative 2/3. Now, negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2, so you can put minus 2 or plus negative 2, they being the same thing. So we got mx plus b. So the slope is negative 2 over 3. The negative's just with the 2, okay? And then the y-intercept, negative 2. Okay, example 3. Now we got to do something that we did not have to do on the first two problems. B. So I find my y. It's multiplied by 3, but with that minus, it's actually multiplied by a negative 3. If you have a minus in front of the y multiplier, make it plus negative. Now this is not good. You don't want a negative in front of the y. I'll explain why when I'm done with the end of the problem. Okay? Actually, on this one, it wasn't. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to pull. What I'm going to do to make that negative 3 a positive 3 is something very easy. You need to switch all the terms in the equation to the opposite. So see how this 18 is positive? I make it negative. See how that 3 is negative? I make it positive. See how that 15 is positive? You make it negative. Okay? Then we have an x term here, and we have a constant term there. So I need to get rid of the x term. So I plus 18x, but that can't go with the negative 15 because that's a constant. So I make my own x term, and yes, I'm going to put 0x. As stupid as that might look, it'll do the job. And then I have an x term to go with my 18x. So you use 0 as the term. So now you have 3 times y. Now, you don't put your negative 15 first. You need to put your x term first. So 0 plus 18 is 18. Then I put plus negative 15. Now I divide all of these by 3. Now, this time, 18 divided by 3 is a whole number 6. So I want you to put 6 down. I mean, it's not a mixed number. It's also not a decimal. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Now y is by itself, so you got m and b. So the slope is 6 over 1, and the y-intercept is negative 5. Okay, example 4. Find your y term, and there it is, the 3 times y. It's positive, so we put a check. Don't need to do the opposite, the switch. Okay, so we got an x term, another x term, and a constant term. Now I need to take out the x term on this side, so I subtract 4x, and I don't make a 0x because we already have an x term to do the minus 4x from right there. So we have 3 times y, then x, 2 minus 4 is negative 2, and then we have the minus 12. If you want to put plus negative 12, that's fine. Now we get rid of the times 3 with dividing by 3. Okay, we will divide negative 2 by 3. Okay, not going to work. Second PRB that. We're at negative 2/3. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. Okay, and now I have my m and I have my b. So the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope is your m. The y-intercept your b. So negative 2/3 is the slope, negative 4 is the y-intercept. Now, next page. 2x plus 6y equals 12. So I got to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay. So m and b. Find your y term. You got to get the y by itself. Now it's a positive 6. Okay. So, put a check. We got to get rid of that. We got an x term and we have a constant term. So, I subtract the x term, but I need an x term over here. So, I create my own using the 0 as x as the coefficient, so minus 2x. So, I line up my equals. I write 6 times y. So, 0 minus 2 is negative 2x plus the 12. Now I divide by 6. Okay, so negative 2 divided by 6, I don't like that. Second PRB, negative 1/3. So essentially took that and divided each one by 2 and reduced it. So you write your x, okay, negative 1/3. Now I want you to look here. You can't put the 12 first. You have to put your x first, and then 0 minus 2 is negative 2x. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. So you got your m and your b. So negative 1/3 is your slope, positive 2 is your y-intercept. Okay, and the next problem, 2y plus 7 equals 3x. So slope, y-intercept, m and b. All right, now where's your y at? You have to get the y by itself to know the slope and the y-intercept. So you have 2 times y. It's positive, so you can check that. Now, this is a constant, this is an x term. So you subtract 7. Is there a constant over there? No, so you put a plus 0, so you can minus 7. So you have 2 times y. Now you put your x first, and we just have 3. Then the constant, 0 minus 7, is negative 7. Now you get rid of your times 2 with dividing by 2. Both these, the x and the constant, have to be divided by 2. All right, so 3 divided by 2, so I put x down. You don't forget the x, okay? 1.5 second PRB that, and that's 1 1/2. So then I go second PRB that back into a, whoops, sorry. So 3 divided by 2, second PRB, and that's a mixed number. That's not going to work as a slope. So now you go second ABC, okay? 3 over 2. Just keeps it. Now, I don't care if I get a decimal here, okay? It's in front of the x, I don't want the decimal because that's your m, okay? You don't want your slope to be a decimal. Now, the b can be a decimal. That's fine, okay? Okay, so slope 3 over 2, and the y-intercept is negative 3.5, okay? Now, again, I'm fine with the b being a decimal, not the m, okay? All right, example 7, slope, y-intercept. So m and b. All right, so here's the y. Now, that has a minus in front of it, so that is multiplied by a negative 2 value. You need to switch that to opposite. I don't like the y's negatives. That's just me, okay? So, switch it to the opposite. Negative, positive, negative, okay? So, I got an x term, I got a constant term. So I plus 5x, but there's no x term on the other side, so I make a 0x, and then I add 5x to that. So 2 times y. So 0x plus 5x is 5x. You got to put the x first, okay? The x has to be placed first, then your constant, negative 12. Now we divide all this by 2, both the x and the constant. Okay, 5 divided by 2, I don't want decimals. This is where my m's going to be. So no decimals as slopes. It's rise over run. So second PRB that. 2.5, that's a mixed number. That's not a slope either. That's not a rise over run. So then I go second ABC, and it goes to 5 over 2. And there's your m. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. That's your b. So we have 5 over 2, negative 6. 2.5 is 5 over 2. Okay, and then the last one, slope, y-intercept. Okay, now we got to get the y by itself. So y is multiplied by a positive 4. You can check that. Now you got an x term, another x term, and a constant term. So I'm going to get rid of this 3x. It's positive, so then I would subtract it, but there's an x for it to go with, which would be negative 3x. This is not 0, okay? If you're at negative 3 on a number line, and minus 3 would mean you go 3 to the left, okay? So negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So it would be negative 6x plus the 12, okay? Then divide all the terms by 4. And then y equals, put my x down, Negative 6 divided by 4, I don't want a decimal. Second PRB, I don't want a mixed number. Second ABC, negative 3/2. Okay. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3, negative 3 over 2. So MB. So negative 3 over 2 is my slope, 3 is a y-intercept.